You're listening to Kink from Down the Rabbit Hole, and in the studio, it's Gang of Youths!
Hey.
Finally back in the Netherlands. It's
Good to
been
be
way
back.
too long, guys.
Too long, mate. A few years in the mid.
I think
Few
about
years.
4 or 5 years. The last time I was here, I was stuck.
2019, actually, we were in the Netherlands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not so long ago. It was just right before everything happened in the world.
When,
Exactly,
when
yeah.
were you here last?
I was here when you just said,
Oh, yeah, 2019.
but I was stuck in Amsterdam for 2 weeks.
Really?
But in like the best possible way.
We spent 2 weeks completely blazed staring at the fucking canals.
Worst places to
Worst
start
places
there,
to
Jan.
start, yeah.
And does that give
Exactly.
you good music? Inspiration, maybe, in a way?
Well, I kind of just wanted to go home the whole time. I was stuck in Amsterdam because I had visa issues getting back into the UK. So it wasn't by choice, let's just say that. But I definitely made my use of time while I was
Yeah.
over there.
He
It
looked
was
at-
inspirational in some sense. Yeah.
You went to go see a bunch of Rembrandts, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dutch
Is it hard
masters.
to tour now? Because there's a Brexit happening, there's visa rules to America, to Europe. How difficult is it to tour?
I mean, coming from the like for me, it's not because I've got a European passport, but for these boys, especially Tommy, because it's English, it was sort of a fucking massive pain in the ass.
It's suddenly like obviously the pandemic sort of
Yeah.
overshadowed all the ramifications of what was going to happen with Brexit. So
Yeah.
now we're like feeling it. Like for instance, after today, we're playing on the main stage, and as soon as we finish our set, we can't even hang around. We've got to just head home because it's going to take us hours to
can't
get
even-
across the
yeah.
border.
We can't even see gorillas, man. Do you know
Yeah.
how much that hurts me
Yeah.
to not see?
I could FaceTime
Gorillas.
you in the show.
Actually, you probably could. I'll be in France on a beach. Actually, I'm going on holiday. I'm going straight on holiday afterwards with my wife.
Yeah.
So you can gorilla biscuit me.
How good
Otherwise-
are you at taking time off?
Terrible at it. I've been trying to make more of an effort lately, just because I feel like if I don't, it automatically means I'm neglecting my marriage.
Unless I
And sort
can't get back home,
of- Yeah.
that's when it's like forced relaxation.
Yeah,
kind
time off's underrated when you fucking tour loads, because everyone's like, oh man, you must love touring, being out with the boys in the fucking bus for 24 hours straight, fucking drinking to your heart's content, smoking all that shit, and like I have to live like a monk on tour, and it's sort of when you spend all that fucking time in an enclosed environment, like staring into your friend's eyes for like more than like 5 minutes is super fucking uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. See, any
it.
show of affection.
This was 2 seconds.
because it will start
2
making out.
seconds.
Then it'll start making out. But the whole thing becomes like time off is really fucking important.
Yeah.
Like, I feel that. So, and time off, not separately, but like kind of within our own lives, because we spend every waking moment together, even off tour, talking, hanging out, doing shit. So we're kind of like a bit. Oh, I wouldn't say we're codependent. We used to be pretty codependent, maybe, but I don't know.
I think it kind of comes with the territory of being in a band, which is essentially like a marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or maybe I don't know. I don't know what other bands look like.
It's a
but-
horrible, abusive marriage.
I'm impressed with how like organised you two have been. Like every time we finished a European festival, you've been off like organising holidays and stuff. Damn,
it's just
I need to get my shit together.
You do.
Yeah.
What are
You
you
need to get your
going
shit
to
together.
do?
Just going back
tomorrow?
home, back to
Mate,
London. Boring.
He has to move into a new house and renovate. That's what Tom's
Well, that's
gonna
true.
do.
I've got a project.
He's got actual shit. Him and his fiance have got shit to do. We all have shit to do.
We got shit to do.
We only do this band so we can do our shit.
That's it.
Do you know
That's
what I mean?
it. Yeah.
You know, we're like the Dutch. We like to work to live, not to live to work. Do you know what I mean? Which is basically me euphemistically saying I'm lazy as fuck and I hate touring and I hate working. And if you could give me $100 million, I'd consider leaving the band.
Oh. And after 20 years, you do one reunion show.
Dude, I'm so jealous of idle rich people. You know what I mean? Like these pieces of shit fucking fly around and go on holiday and go to fucking Seychelles and do fuck all. And look at us, mate, slumming at the back of a fucking of a splitter van. It's great.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Last time, Dave, we talked about the new album, which was coming up then. But at that point, you told the last album before this one, you don't like it
I
anymore.
don't like it.
How do you think now this album is out, the new album? I fucking love it. How do you think about it now it's being released?
It's about my dad, so loving it is like loving my dad. You know, does that make sense? I struggle with maybe the first two because I was young, dumb, and full of rum when I was making that shit. And I think for me it was sort of a hard adjustment to the profile that we sort of suddenly got in Australia and to a lesser extent in the United States. I didn't really cope well with it. So those bands are kind of symbolic of those fucking albums are symbolic of maybe me becoming less of the person I didn't like. You know, you know.
We've all grown for
Yeah,
sure. I
yeah,
think to sum it all up,
Yeah.
we
this-
were all very young and kind of finding ourselves in a way,
This album, like,
and still finding ourselves even in this album as well. But I don't know. There's something about when you lose, I guess, like your parent. There's something about that kind of like not only one like it forces you to grow in some way and stretch, but also it is a universal kind of trauma that we will all eventually experience one day.
Yeah.
Or maybe
If we haven't already,
experience-
yeah.
you know. So
relate to.
yeah, I don't know.
it's just easier to love this one, I think.
Yeah.
Also, we did it. It didn't have the imprint of like, it's our thing. And I love this album because it was polarizing online, and I love this album because it separates sheep from goats. I don't know. There's something about we've sort of figured out where we sit and what our spot is, and I think like the album's just such a fucking. I don't know. It would take 3 listens for a normal person to be interested in even remotely in it, and I like that about it. It's both like accessible and impenetrable, which kind of like us as people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I love it. It's about my father, and it's about my heritage, and you know, no one can take that away from me or us, right? Like we
No.
made this thing with love and with fully knowing that it would probably divide people, and I think I enjoy that tension.
It's
Yeah,
also like it's also like this is probably the album that we probably made mostly for us out of all the other albums, and like you can't really like just like you're saying, you can't really take that away from us, like whether if you like it or not. Like at the end of the day, we made it. Well, you made it. You wrote these songs because it was healing for you, and like no one can really take that away from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the important thing.
It's one
about
of
it.
it's one of those records that I was talking to someone about it earlier, and it's like Marty McFly at the end of Back to the Future when he rips in that fucking Van Halen style tapping solo at the end of Johnny Be Good, and all these fucking dumpy 50s losers are like looking at him like fucking like absolutely shocked, and he looks at him and he's like, oh, I guess you're not ready for that, but trust me, your kids are gonna love it. I felt like there's a sense of posterity with this record that might have legs when, you know, in 5 years, like, no one will give a fuck about it. Honestly, like, genuinely believe in 5 years, no one will give a fuck.
Really?
But, yeah, straight up.
Why?
Why would they? I don't give a fuck about me. Do you know what I mean? Like, why should they? No,
That's
honestly,
why
why should they?
we give a fuck about
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And I do. I do. We
But,
do
like,
at Kink.
but I think there's like a troubled romance in some of that, like just being forgotten, and suddenly like some kids in a fucking basement in 15 years or 10 years figure out that Angel Real Time isn't the massive steaming shit pile that, you know, isn't a massive steaming shit pile. And that's I think I like that. I think I struggled a lot with how this album was received. I think emotionally because it's about my father, but I think Tommy especially has kind of helped me through that whole thing. I realised that it's a Marty McFly thing. You know, eventually maybe the kids might love it.
I promise we still play the Gang of Youth song in 10 years.
I'm glad.
We do
10
at
years.
Kink.
I'm glad.
And
10
now
years.
about
Wow.
playing, you're going to play some songs here. What are you going to play?
I don't know.
What do you want to play?
We will do. Should I tell you now, or should I leave it as a surprise?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go for a big surprise.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.